What are your experiences at EuRoC?
Yeah, the experience was really great. There was the COVID, so the team hasn't gone to a competition since a long time. When we go to EuRoC, the last time was the Spaceport America Cup in 2019. So most of the members had never seen a competition, so it was that was very great. And this year we'll participate in the COTS 9 kilometers category, like I said earlier, to handle a bit of the supersonic regime. We will try to go because we have the money. We bring the maximum people that we can, so 30 people. We don't really need 30 people to launch the rocket, but just because we can, we do it to give experience to people, to what is a competition, and because just people want to see the rocket launch simply. The difficulty we expect this year is as 9 kilometers is pretty restricted. The launch window are pretty small and at very precise time. So we will have to need very, very prepared. And when we have the 10-minute launch window, we can launch immediately. And that's the main challenge on site, I think, just to be extremely ready. Because I think last year, at least one of the 9 kilometers team couldn't launch because on the last day they wanted to launch, there was clouds, so they couldn't launch. So we really want to prepare to launch at the first launch window.
We don't have any, only students will go. We don't have any advisor members that will go with us, basically. And it's also because this team is quite self-managed by students. We don't have a lot of intervention by professor or doctoral students. It's pretty self-managed by students. It's actually quite interesting and great, I think. Last year, because we talked about a bit about this year, last year, it was, I think, for all of the team, an incredible experience. No zero competition for during 2 years. COVID strike, it was quite difficult to work on the rocket, quite difficult to stay motivated. But yeah, the competition was really great. For a second time, it was amazing what they were able to produce. And for us to launch our rocket, launch RV2, after 2 years and a half of work on hybrid rockets, it was crazy, and the success that we have, and it was amazing. And there's a moment, when you see the main parachute deploys as a nominal apogee, and everything works as planned. Yeah, I think for all the team was one of the best moments maybe in their life. I don't know.
Yeah, the team went crazy when the main deployed. It was insane. Did you see the after movie? Yeah. Okay, so you have quite an idea what happened.
Yeah, and I think last year, DanSTAR with the belly design, the huge belly rockets. It was quite impressive to see, and okay.
The most impressive things for me, just the liquid rocket is insane, but they launch at the first launch window 5 minutes after the start. They was extremely on point. They were ready at the first launch window. They launch. It's a liquid rocket, so it's very complicated. So I was really impressed by that, and if they come this year, we'll have to look after them.
Exactly. And Aris also was quite impressive with a huge rocket picker. This huge rocket. It was amazing, and to see this. I don't know how long it was, but
6.5 meters, I think.
6.5 meters, yeah. So okay, quite amazing to see. The Norwegian were also quite impressive with a thin rocket able to go to 9 kilometers. It seems to have really sweet design. The rocket also was quite beautiful as well. And for me also the Italian, I think it was the second competition or the first competition, and they were able to get a nominal flight. We know actually in the story of the EPFL Rocket Team, we also had one issue in competition and in flight. It was the deployment of the main parachutes. And so we know that it's really difficult to do. So that's also why we are extremely happy to achieve that last year. Able to do a nominal flight for the first competition, I think. It's also quite an achievement, so congrats to them as well.
How is the technical review process at EuRoC?
We arrived on Monday, I think, on the paddock, and Monday was just about preparation. 3 main reviews. So the first one was the judge of the competition went to our stand, where the team was and the rocket was, and they stayed there for about 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, and they had a big list, I think about 50 points, that they had to check on the rocket. So just they asked us, we could show them on the rocket and every of these points had to be green for us to launch. They could be yellow, and in this case, we have 1 or 2 days to mitigate them. Or if we had any red points, we couldn't launch. So they went on all these points on many safety and technical consideration. And at the end, we just had 2 yellow points. It was we had to sign our procedure, and we had to do fit test on the rail. So it was easy to mitigate. This was the day before launch, so the 3rd day of the competition. The day before, this review was done by engineer parts of the jury, and the day before we had like most of the jury came to the stand, and just for a shorter time, we had to explain them the basic concept of the rockets. So that was the 2nd day. The 3rd day we had the technical review, the flight readiness review, and the next day on the launch site we had the launch readiness review, where they checked that we mitigated the yellow points and that the rocket was basically safe to fly. They gave us on site a few tips on some line management for the rocket that we applied.
And when actually we told him about the resume version, he was like, okay.
The short version was about 500 pages, I think.
600, I think. And basically what I know is that the jury quite appreciate the report, but they just think it was just too long, and they wanted something, I think, more resume, more condensed, I think.
Do you want to join other rocketry competitions?
In the past, we also were competing to the Spaceport America Cup. That was always were the 2 competitions that we were participating in, like Spaceport America Cup and EuRoC. And we don't have any competition in Switzerland, so we don't participate in any of them, basically. And we decided this year to not join the Spaceport, mainly due to calendar reasons, because the Spaceport is in our exam session, and so it's really for us complicated to go, because like a large part of the team has exams in Switzerland, and they can't do it remotely. And they have to be in Lausanne for that. So yeah, they're stuck in Lausanne, and so we can't have the right team to launch the rockets. So it's a challenge. Also on top of that, we also are in the process or in the thinking to reduce our emission of CO2, and we don't think that going to America by plane for 1 week is something that is manageable in a sustainable world. So we try to reduce a bit of emission for that as well. And also we also wanted to promote EuRoC as well, because like EuRoC was partially initiated by our team basically, and so like we also want that the competition actually works, because we think that it's really super great to have an open competition for European, and not every time that it's about rocketry go to the US. And about the importance of competition for us, it's also mainly to test our rockets basically, because we don't have any other opportunities to test them. And it's also about to have mediatic and presence, and that's also important. So that's the 2 important points for competition for us. And so EuRoC has filled this 2 point quite nicely, and that's also we are only going to EuRoC.